I told my daughter that I have 2 daughters, and you are not one of them. I was 22 years old when my marriage to Derek ended, standing in a courthouse hallway with our 3-year-old daughter Sophia clinging to my leg. The divorce papers felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds in my hands, but at least I had her. At least I had my baby girl. Derek had cheated with a coworker, gotten caught, and barely fought for custody. He agreed to every other weekend and Wednesday dinners, signed the papers without argument, and walked away looking relieved. I told myself it didn't matter that he'd given up on us so easily. Sophia and I would be fine. We were a team, just the 2 of us against the world. I got a job as a dental hygienist at Dr. Patel's office, found a small apartment near the elementary school, and threw myself into being the best mother I could possibly be. Every decision I made revolved around her happiness and security. Every dollar I earned went toward making sure she had what she needed. Those first 2 years after the divorce were hard but beautiful in their own way. Money was incredibly tight on my salary, and there were nights I ate ramen so Sophia could have chicken nuggets and fruit. Our weekends together were magic. We'd go to the park and feed ducks, visit the library for story time, make elaborate blanket forts in the living room. She'd help me make pancakes on Sunday mornings, standing on a chair at the stove while I held her steady and let her flip them even though half ended up on the floor. Derek was consistent at first with his visitation schedule. Every other Friday at 6, he'd show up in his new truck to collect Sophia for the weekend, and she'd run to him with the pure joy only small children can express. I'd watch her go with a smile fixed on my face, then spend the weekend cleaning and meal prepping and trying not to think about how quiet the apartment felt without her. He'd bring her back Sunday nights, and she'd be full of stories about the movies they watched and the restaurants they went to, places I couldn't afford to take her. I tried not to feel jealous, tried to remember that having a father who showed up was good for her, even if that father had destroyed our family. Everything changed when Derek started dating Vanessa. I first heard about her from Sophia, who came home from a weekend visit bubbling with excitement about Daddy's new friend who had a big house with a pool. I felt my stomach clench but kept smiling, asking casual questions about what Vanessa was like. Sophia said she was pretty and nice and had given her a present, a stuffed unicorn that now sat on her bed. I looked at that unicorn and felt something ugly stir in my chest. That night after she went to bed, I allowed myself 10 minutes to cry in the shower, then pulled myself together and moved on. There was no point dwelling on things I couldn't control. Derek had every right to date. I just hoped Vanessa was good to my daughter. Over the next 6 months, Vanessa became a constant presence in Sophia's weekend stories. The big house became their house when Derek moved in with her. The pool was Olympic-sized with a slide. Vanessa's car was described in reverent tones as the shiniest thing Sophia had ever seen. Derek proposed after 8 months of dating, and suddenly my ex-husband was marrying into serious money. Vanessa's family owned a chain of car dealerships across 3 states, and from what I could piece together from Sophia's innocent observations, she'd never worked a day in her life. She spent her time decorating their house, planning charity galas, and apparently showering my daughter with gifts. Sophia came home from visits with new clothes, new toys, stories about shopping trips to stores I'd only seen in magazines. I watched my daughter's eyes light up talking about Vanessa's walk-in closet and felt my own inadequacy like a physical weight. Our apartment felt smaller and shabbier with each visit. Sophia was 7 when the shift started becoming noticeable. She began complaining about our apartment, asking why we couldn't have a house like Daddy's. I explained gently that houses cost a lot of money, and we were happy where we were, pointing out all the things that made our place special. She'd sigh dramatically and retreat to her room with her new iPad, a gift from Vanessa that I couldn't have afforded if I saved for a year. Her attitude during our weekdays together grew less enthusiastic. She picked at the dinners I made, mentioning that Vanessa's cook made better versions of everything. When I suggested our usual weekend activities, she'd wrinkle her nose and ask if we could do something else, something more exciting. The library wasn't fun anymore. The park was boring. She wanted to go to the trampoline place or the indoor water park, places that cost money I didn't have. I tried to explain that we had a budget, that some things were special treats rather than every weekend activities, but I could see the comparisons happening in her mind. I was the mother who said no. Vanessa was the one who said yes to everything. By the time Sophia turned 8, Derek had started canceling Wednesday dinners. He'd text at the last minute with apologies, saying something had come up or Vanessa had planned something. I'd have to tell Sophia, watching her face fall with disappointment, then work to cheer her up by making our own special dinner at home. But the weekend visits remained consistent, and Sophia's excitement for them grew while her enthusiasm for our time together visibly dimmed. She started asking if she could stay at Daddy's house for longer periods, maybe the whole week instead of just weekends. I explained that wasn't how our custody agreement worked, that I was her primary parent and she lived with me. She asked why she had to live in our tiny apartment when Daddy's house had a room just for her with an ensuite bathroom and a balcony. That's when I lost it. Full story is linked below or on my channel.